Women for Election is a non-partisan, not-for-profit organisation to inspire and equip women to succeed in politics.
We work with women all around the country to try and give them the tools and the techniques and the encouragement to consider politics as a career.
The terrible gap in the Dáil Éireann and in Seanad Éireann and the whole Oireachtas is really very serious for the country. It's lacking a whole perspective on public affairs, and every single thing in politics affects every one of us, not just the 50% male. And so I think Women for Election is fantastic.
The whole lobby for having women in the political arena is one thing, but actually actively going out and encouraging and supporting and finding them, that's really what it's about. And I think that Women for Election, they are going about it in a very diligent manner and in a very meaningful way.
There's a sense of solidarity that needs to be built. So I think Women for Election can offer the practical know-how and insights and experiences, but also that sense of a collective movement and a collective desire to have women elected to our political institutions.
The Women for Elections programme is an extremely good idea. If we're going to get a lot more women into politics, we're going to need programmes like this to stimulate the effort and to speed up the whole process.
I think it's vital, because I think that many women don't get into politics, not because they're afraid or not because they wouldn't like to, but because they simply don't know the ropes. And this is just about giving them the ropes in advance.
I think Women for Election are a very inspiring organisation. I think they're doing an essential job, and I think they will make a real contribution to public life in Ireland.
Women for Election, by providing a network for women from all different parties, I think that's great, because whatever our political differences, there's certainly a common cause among women in the Dáil and in the Seanad that all of us want to see more women get involved.
Simply by being out there, by being visible, by having a high profile, a group like Women for Election can really make a difference to young women, especially girls in school who are looking at political role models. They're actively reminding people that women are just as good at politics as men.
I think Niamh and Michelle are terrific women. I think hats off to them for coming up with this idea in the first place. They're so professional, they're so clear and concise in the messages that they give and in the information that they give out, and they're supportive. They're just really terrific.
It does what it says in the tin. It informs, it equips, but it does more than that. It actually encourages. They're at the end of the phone, they're an email away.
There would probably now be lots and lots of women, capable women, who would be interested and prepared to enter the political fray. But for many of us, we would think about it, but we wouldn't do anything about it. And that's the value of Women for Election. They make it happen.
What makes them different and what sets them apart is they were the only organisation that ever asked me, what do I need as a politician? What do you need from us in order to make your job easier and to get elected? And just the power of being asked that was very good for me and will always stay in my head.
They're not affiliated with any particular political party, so they can bring certain perspectives, they can bring speakers in from across the spectrum.
I've been a member of Fianna Fáil for the past, I'd say, 5 or 6 years now, and from the first day that I got involved, I was basically the odd one out, and you're always a kind of an outsider. I think the two women that are leading this are doing a massive service to not just the women of the country, but the men also, because they're helping people, and men especially, to identify the fact that we do need more women in politics.
When we look at the Dáil, you see that there's less than 20% representation by women. An organisation like Women for Election is extremely important because we need more women in politics.
I know it's probably dreadful for me to say at this stage of my life, but I wouldn't have been aware of it up until quite recently, the importance of having enough women at the table in the decision-making process.
A lot of people ask us, what would more women in the political process, what difference would that make? And we summarise that as the 4 Ps. So we look at process. Women tend to have a different way of doing things. We approach things differently than men. It's not necessarily better or worse, it's just different. Women tend to have a different priority. And having a different process, a different way of doing something, and a different priority, well, what you get is actually different policies. And the combination of having men and women working together and coming up with different policies, what we actually get is a more robust decision-making process in our political system. The final P that we like to talk about is power. Men tend to have a very straight up, vertical access to power, so it tends to go straight up. Women tend to, on the other hand, be part of maybe many different organisations, but not necessarily getting to the top of them all. So if you combine the two, you combine the talents of both men and women, and what you actually get is better decision making.